The message came through at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, lighting up my phone with a familiar buzz. It was the family group chat, the one I'd muted half a year ago but never actually left. Somehow leaving felt like giving up, like admitting they'd finally worn me down. I glanced at the screen, expecting the usual chatter about birthdays or holiday plans, but this time it was different. "So we're all meeting at Lucia's new penthouse Saturday for brunch," my sister Victoria wrote. Everyone except Maya. She added a little winking emoji, as if that made it a joke. Obviously, LOL, I watched the typing bubbles appear, disappear, then pop up again. My cousin Jennifer chimed in. Why obviously? The answer came quickly. Because Mai is still living in that cheap apartment in the old district. She'd be embarrassed. My thumb hovered over the screen, but I didn't type anything. The old district. That's what they called the Morrison Building. A pre-war apartment complex with original crown molding, restored hardwood floors, and a waiting list that stretched 2 years long. But because it wasn't a glass tower with a doorman and a rooftop pool, my family called it cheap. Mom's message appeared next. True, Maya's always been comfortable with less. Then Aunt Teresa added her 2 cents. Some people just don't have ambition. At least she seems happy. Victoria again. Living in that cheap apartment. Pathetic, but yeah. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. I set my phone down and stared at my laptop. The Morrison Building's financial reports were open in front of me. I'd been reviewing quarterly statements when the messages started rolling in. Profit margins were up 12% from last year. Occupancy rate was holding steady at 98%. Tenant satisfaction scores were the highest they'd been in 5 years. My building, the one I bought 8 years ago when I was just 25, and everyone thought I was out of my mind. The same building where Victoria rented a 2-bedroom on the 4th floor, where Mom had her adorable little place on the 7th floor for city visits, and where Aunt Teresa kept a 1-bedroom she used as an office for her consulting business. None of them knew I owned it. They thought some faceless company ran the Morrison Building. They paid their rent to the management company I hired, never questioning who actually owned the property. I kept it quiet for the same reason I kept most of my investments quiet. My family had a way of making everything complicated. When I dropped out of my master's program to pursue real estate, they staged an intervention, an actual intervention. They sat me down, told me I was throwing my life away, said I'd end up homeless. Real estate investment isn't for people like us, Mom had said, as if we were some struggling family barely scraping by. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. The difference was, they believed in traditional success, degrees, corporate jobs, impressive titles. I believed in assets, in cash flow, in building something that couldn't be downsized or eliminated during budget cuts. So I stopped telling them things. I let them believe whatever they wanted about my cheap apartment and my supposed lack of ambition. I picked up my phone and scrolled through the rest of the messages. Jennifer had gone quiet. She'd always been a little kinder than the rest, but Victoria kept going. Mom added laughing emojis, and Aunt Teresa chimed in with more observations about my disappointing life choices. I opened my contacts and found my property manager's number. Hey Denise, it's Maya. Maya, I was just about to call you. We have someone interested in that corner unit on the 9th floor, the one that just opened up. They're willing to pay above asking. Great. Listen, I need you to do something for me. Pull the lease agreements for units 4B, 7G, and 8C. A pause. Those are your family members, right? Your sister, your mom, and your aunt. Yes. Is something wrong? Are they behind on rent? Denise's voice shifted to business mode. No issues with payment, but I'm going to need you to send them notices of lease termination today. I want the notices dated today, but delivered at midnight tonight. Can you do that? Another pause, longer this time. Maya, are you sure that's going to cause problems? We usually give 60 days notice minimum, and we'd need cause. Check their leases. All 3 signed year-to-year agreements last month, and all 3 include the owner termination clause. I can terminate with 24 hours notice if the owner plans to occupy the unit or make substantial renovations. You're planning to occupy 3 units? I'm planning to renovate the entire 4th, 7th, and 8th floors. Updating electrical, plumbing, everything. It's been on my 5-year plan. I'm just moving up the timeline. It wasn't a total lie. I had been planning renovations, just not for another 2 years. Okay, Denise said slowly. And you want these delivered at midnight? That's specific. Electronic notices to their email addresses on file. Time for 12 a.m. exactly. Can you make that happen? I can set up scheduled emails, yes. But Maya, this is your family. Are you absolutely... I'm absolutely sure. Send the notices. Standard 24-hour vacancy requirement as per the lease termination clause. Include the relevant legal citation so they know it's binding. After I hung up, I looked at the group chat again. They'd moved on to discussing what kind of champagne to serve at Victoria's penthouse brunch. I took a screenshot of Victoria's message, the one calling my apartment pathetic, and saved it to my photos. Then I muted my phone and went back to work. At 11:58 p.m., I unmuted the family group chat. At 11:59 p.m., I typed, "Check your mail." I hit send and watched the message appear in the chat. 1 minute later, my phone exploded. Victoria called first. I declined. She called again immediately. Declined. Mom called. Declined. Aunt Teresa called. Declined. The group chat erupted. "Maya, what did you do?" "I just got an email saying I have 24 hours to vacate my apartment. This says the building owner is terminating my lease." "Why would they do this? I've never been late on rent." "Maya, why did you tell us to check our mail?" "Did you know about this?" I watched the messages pile up. Watched the panic spread. Watched them realize that all three of them had received the same notice at the same time. Wait, Jennifer wrote, "All three of you got eviction notices at the exact same time. That's not a coincidence." Smart girl, Jennifer. "Maya, what did you do?" Mom again, typing slowly. "I didn't do anything. The building owner made a decision about their property." "Do you know the building owner? Did you complain about us or something?" Victoria was using all caps now. "Why would I complain? I'm just a pathetic one living in a cheap apartment, remember?" The typing bubbles appeared and disappeared several times. No one seemed to know what to say to that. Finally, Mom. "Maya, this isn't funny. We have 24 hours to find new places. Do you understand how impossible that is?" "You should start packing," I wrote. "The notice is legally binding." "How do you know that, Victoria?" Again, I didn't answer. Instead, I took another screenshot. This one of their panicked messages and set my phone aside. 3 voicemails appeared within minutes. I listened to them on speaker while I made tea. Victoria's voice was shaking. "Maya, I don't know what you did, but you need to fix this right now. I can't just move out in 24 hours. I have furniture. I have a lease. This is illegal. Call me back." Mom's voice. That particular tone she used when she was trying to sound calm but was actually furious. "Maya Elizabeth, I know you're upset about the things said in the group chat, but this is taking things way too far. You need to tell us what's happening. We're family. Call me." Aunt Teresa's voice, already moving into bargaining. "Maya, sweetheart, I don't know what we said to upset you, but let's talk about this like adults. I'm sure this is all just a misunderstanding. The building owner is probably a client of yours or something, right? You can explain that we're good tenants. Call me back and we'll sort this out." I deleted all 3 voicemails and opened my laptop. The Morrison building had security cameras in the lobby. I pulled up the live feed and watched. At 11:47 p.m., Victoria burst through the front doors, still in her pajamas, and ran to the mailboxes. She pulled out her phone, probably rereading the email notice, and then kicked the wall. The night security guard, Marcus, approached her. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I watched Victoria gesture wildly while Marcus maintained his professional calm. After a few minutes, she stormed to the elevators. At 12:30 a.m., Mom appeared in the lobby wearing a coat over her nightgown. She went straight to Marcus. This conversation lasted longer. Mom had always been good at trying to charm her way through problems, but Marcus was well trained. He'd call Denise if anyone got aggressive, and Denise would direct them to the legal department of the management company, who would confirm that yes, the notices were legitimate. I closed my laptop and went to bed. My phone had 37 missed calls when I woke up at 7:00 a.m. The group chat had 183 new messages. I scrolled through them with my coffee, watching the night's progression, from panic to anger to desperate bargaining. Victoria at 12:47 a.m. The security guard says he can't tell us who owns the building. Says it's confidential. This is insane. Mom at 1:15 a.m. I've called every attorney I know. They all say the lease termination clause is valid if the owner is doing renovations. But 24 hours is cruel. And Tassa at 2:33 a.m. I can't find anywhere available on such short notice. Everything decent requires applications, credit checks, deposits. Jennifer at 3:02 a.m. Has anyone actually reached Maya? This seems really targeted. All 3 of you in the same building, all getting notices at the same time. Right after you were talking about her in the chat. Victoria at 3:45 a.m. Jennifer. That's ridiculous. Maya doesn't have that kind of power. She lives in this building too. She's probably getting evicted just like us. That made me smile. The assumptions they made about my life never ceased to amaze me. Mom, at 6:23 a.m., Maya, I know you're reading these. Please just tell us if you know something. We need help. I set my phone down and got ready for work. At 9:00 a.m., Denise called. Your sister is in the building office, she said without preamble. She's demanding to speak to the owner. She's been here since we opened, and she's not leaving until she gets answers. Tell her the owner doesn't take meetings. I did. She said she'll wait however long it takes. She set up camp in our waiting area. Maya, she seems pretty desperate. The notice gave her 24 hours. She has until midnight tonight. She should be apartment hunting, not camping in the office. Your mom called me 4 times this morning. Your aunt has already hired a lawyer, though I told her the lease termination is airtight. This is getting messy. It was always going to be messy. That's why I waited 8 years to do it. Do you want me to call building security? We can have your sister removed if she's disrupting office operations. I considered this Victoria being physically removed from the building office by security. The humiliation of it. The way it would prove she had no power here. No leverage. Nothing. No. I said finally let her wait, but don't tell her anything. No information about the owner, no details about their innovations, nothing. Understood. I hung up and turned to my computer. I had 4 other properties to manage, and none of them were going to run themselves just because I was dealing with family drama. At noon, Jennifer called. Not texted, called. I answered. Maya, please tell me you didn't do what I think you did. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Are you the owner of the Morrison building? Silence stretched between us. I heard her breathing on the other end of the line. Oh my God, she said finally. You are? You actually own it. I own several buildings. How long? 8 years. And they never knew. They never asked. They assumed my apartment was all I had, and I never corrected them. Maya, they're panicking. Victoria hasn't slept. Your mom is calling everyone she knows trying to find a place. Anaresa is threatening legal action, but her lawyer already told her she doesn't have a case. They have until midnight. That's what the lease says. This is because of what they said in the group chat. Isn't it about your apartment being cheap and pathetic? It's because I'm tired of being treated like a failure by people who pay my rent. Jennifer made a small sound. Half laugh, half sob. That's actually kind of perfect in a terrible way. But Maya, what happens now? You're going to let them be homeless? They're not going to be homeless. They have money. They have resources. They'll find places. Maybe not as nice as the Morrison building, but they'll find something. And maybe they'll learn to think twice before mocking someone's living situation. You know, this is going to destroy your relationship with them. Jennifer, we haven't had a real relationship in years. We've had a performance where they look down on me and I pretend not to notice. I'm done performing. She was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, I never thought you were a failure. Always wondered why you seemed sound bothered by their comments. Now I know, thanks, Jennifer. Are you going to tell them that you own the building? Eventually, they'll figure it out, but I'm not going to make it easy. After we hung up, I checked the group chat one more time. Victoria, at 11:47 a.m. The building office won't tell us anything. This is definitely personal. Someone has it out for us. Mom, at 12:15 p.m. I found a furnished rental, but it's $800 more per month than what I'm paying now. This is going to destroy my budget. Aunt Teresa at 12:33 p.m. My lawyer says I can sue for wrongful eviction, but it would cost more than just moving. I can't believe this is happening. I put my phone in my desk drawer and didn't look at it for the rest of the day. At 11:30 p.m., Denise sent me a text. All 3 units are empty. Your sister left at 10:47 p.m. last one out. Took photos of her throwing her keys at the night desk. Charming family you have. I responded, schedule the renovation crews to start tomorrow. Full gut renovations on all 3 floors. Let's make something beautiful. At 11:59 p.m., I opened the family group chat one last time. The messages had slowed down. Exhaustion and moving logistics had replaced the panic. Victoria's last message was at 9:34 p.m. We're all out. I hope you're happy. Whoever did this, toss at midnight exactly. I typed one final message. The building owner is very happy with their decision. Good luck in your new apartments. Try not to call them cheap. I hit send and then finally left the group chat. My phone rang immediately. Victoria, then Mom, then Aunt Teresa. I blocked all free numbers, made myself chamomile tea, and opened my laptop to review their renovation plans for the Morrison building's 4th, 7th, and 8th floors. Some lessons cost money, some cost pride, and some cost the cheap apartment you should have appreciated while you had.